You know, for over half a century, there's been this one piece of film at the center of a huge debate. It's grainy, it's shaky, it's less than a minute long, but it might just be the greatest biological discovery ever, or the most brilliant hoax ever pulled off. So today, we're not just going to retell the story. We're opening the case file.
That's Bob Gimlin, one of the two guys right at the heart of this whole thing. 50 years after it happened, that's still his take. Not a monster, not some undiscovered animal, but forest people. Think about that for a second. It adds this kind of personal, human layer to a story that's about to get really, really complicated.
So what are we really looking at here? We're talking about 954 frames of 16mm film shot out in the wilderness of Northern California. They show an alleged female Bigfoot, who people have nicknamed Patty, just striding across a creek bed. Our job here is to scrutinize every angle of how this footage even came to be.
All right, so to get to the bottom of this, here's our game plan. We're going to look at the mystery itself, then dive into the conflicting testimonies. We'll examine the creature's anatomy, follow the money trail, check out the movie magic of the era, and then it's time for the verdict.
Okay, first things first, before we get into the weeds, let's establish what the film actually shows. Every investigation has to start with the official story behind these crucial 59 seconds.
So the story they tell is pretty simple and really dramatic. They're out tracking Bigfoot, they round a bend, and bam, they come face to face with it. Patterson's horse freaks out, but he manages to grab his camera and just starts running towards it, film rolling. The creature walks away, super calm, but not before turning to give one iconic, unforgettable look back. This is the baseline. This is the narrative that everything else is built on.
For years, that was the story. Just Patterson and Gimlin. But you know how these things go. Eventually, other people started talking, and some serious cracks began to form in that official account.
And this is where the case just gets messy. Two different guys, totally independent of each other, came forward claiming credit for the hoax. One said he made the suit, the other said he wore it. But here's the kicker. If they were in on it together, they must have forgotten to get their stories straight. So first up, you've got this guy, Philip Morris. He's a costume maker, and in 2002, he comes out and says, "Yeah, that was me. I sold Patterson the suit." He claimed he was totally shocked when he saw his work on the news, because he just thought it was for some simple prank.
And then there's Bob Haranamas. He was a friend of Patterson's, and he claims he was the man inside the suit. And his description? It's way different. It's visceral. He remembers this heavy, stinking suit made from a real horsehide.
Okay, so you see the problem here, right? For anyone trying to prove this was a hoax, this is a huge headache. You've got two independent confessions that just don't match up at all. One guy says it was a lightweight synthetic suit he sold for $435. The other guy describes a heavy, smelly horsehide and says he was paid $1,000 to wear it. The central piece of evidence for a hoax, the suit itself, has two completely different origin stories. With testimony that messy, let's turn to our silent witness, the figure in the film. What can science tell us? I mean, are we looking at a man in a suit or some kind of unknown animal? And here, the experts are just completely deadlocked. It's wild. You have one camp with folks like anatomist Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum arguing that the gait is fluid, you can see muscles moving, it all points to a real primate. But then you have the other side, with people like primatologist Dr. John Napier, who look at the exact same footage and say, nope, the proportions are all wrong. They are drawing totally opposite conclusions. So at the end of the day, science just doesn't give us a clean answer. The footage is too grainy, too shaky. There's simply not enough data to satisfy everybody. For every argument that it's real, there's a plausible counterargument that says it's a fake, which leaves the question totally wide open. So if science can't give us an answer, let's try a different angle. Let's look at motive. If this was a hoax, why on earth would they do it? For that, we got to follow the money and take a hard look at the man behind the camera, Roger Patterson.
This timeline, man, it tells a story. Patterson wasn't just some random adventurer. He was an aspiring filmmaker who had sunk every penny he had into a Bigfoot docudrama. He'd written a book, he'd started filming, but when he went to Hollywood for funding, no dice. So by October 1967, he was broke, deep in debt, and absolutely desperate for a breakthrough.
So what's this $700 all about? Well, that's a promissory note that Patterson signed to get funding for his film, which he titled Bigfoot, America's Abominable Snowman. He promised to pay back $850 plus 5% of any profits. See, this wasn't a hobby. It was a business venture, and it was failing.
The big question for any investigator is, how far would a desperate man go to make his project a success?
Which leads us to our final big question. Let's say he had the motive. Did he even have the means? Could a hoax this good really be pulled off in 1967, especially by a guy like Roger Patterson, with basically no money?
So we turn to the people who would know best, the masters of illusion in Hollywood, the monster makers. We showed them the evidence, and you're probably not going to be surprised to hear this, they couldn't agree either.
And the division here is just fascinating. You have absolute legends like Stan Winston, the guy behind Jurassic Park, who just dismissed it. It's a guy in a bad hairsuit, sorry. Rick Baker, who made Harry and the Hendersons, agreed, saying it looked like cheap, fake fur. But then, you get John Chambers, the Oscar winner who did Planet of the Apes, and he denied he had anything to do with it, famously saying, "I'm good, but not that good." Even some technicians at Universal Studios supposedly said it would be almost impossible to fake. So once again, the experts just leave us with more questions than answers.
All right, we've looked at the witnesses, the science, the motive, and the means. And at every single turn, we've found nothing but contradictions. So now, it's time to lay out all the final evidence, so you can be the judge.
Okay, let's break it down. On one side, in the hoax column, you've got a desperate man with a clear motive. You've got these confessions, even if they don't quite line up. And let's be honest, the incredible luck of finding a Bigfoot right when you happen to be making a movie about one. That's a tough pill to swallow. But then on the other side, you've got a creature with this unique walk that experts have struggled to replicate. You've got Hollywood pros suggesting the suit was too advanced for the era, and maybe the biggest point of all, after all these years, no one has ever produced the suit. There's no smoking gun.
And that's where we have to close the case file, at least for now. The film is still a perfect enigma, balanced right between the plausible and the impossible. Is it a real glimpse of an unknown species, a testament to the wild mysteries nature still holds? Or is it simply the greatest campfire story ever told, a piece of folklore captured on film by a man who needed a monster to become a legend? The final verdict? Well, that's up to you.